Welcome to McDonald's.
We start off today's video in LA Union Station, as seems to be a common occurrence for my videos so far. We're headed on a longer trip today towards Beverly Hills, and as you just heard, I'm ready for a late breakfast. Let's get into it. As you can see as we crawl up to this intersection, yes, I'm gonna say it again, the 5-mile-an-hour speed limit in Union Station is quite frankly absurd. Hopefully they can get that figured out. Our first moment of interest is here at this light, where there isn't really enough space for us on the other side. The Waymo driver isn't bothered though, and quickly makes a lane change to squeeze us right into that available space and avoid sitting in the intersection. Very well done. Next up, we have a great example of human-like behaviour at this flashing red crosswalk. We're slowly creeping forwards, ready to take the gap that Waymo has planned for us to take advantage of. And there we go. Awesome. Another great example of this is coming up now, where we again slowly roll forwards before this pedestrian has fully crossed, ready to take our right on red. This next part of the drive gives us a really interesting insight into some of the limitations of the sensors around the car. As we come down this hill, take a look at the white fog on the screen, which indicates an area the car can't yet see. And now as we level out again, you can see it go back to normal. Honestly, I couldn't really see it either, but it's interesting to see what the car can and can't see with its sensor array. And here we have another great example of how the Waymo driver really prioritizes safety above all else. As we approach this RV, it slows down a little, just in case there's someone behind it who could jump out in front of us. From my experience, this behavior seems to be something that happens every time in a situation like this, which is really awesome to see. It doesn't slow too much, but just enough that we would be in a good position to emergency brake if need be. And I just want to give a quick shout out, I guess, to this intersection, which was from my first video when it was controlled by an officer with hand signals. If you want to see a detailed analysis of how Waymo can interpret hand signals, be sure to give it a watch after this video. I'll have it linked in the top right now, as well as in the description. Next up, take a look at this white van on the right. They've just run out of drivable space and cut right in front of us. Notice how the car slowed in advance and didn't brake harshly. Nice and smooth. I've had this exact situation happen before on Tesla FSD V12, and it slammed on the brakes quite aggressively. Let's take a closer look at this situation. We just moved over to the left as much as we can, and at this point I have no idea why. Oh, that makes sense. Well handled. Next up, we have quite a twisty road. It's not exactly Lombard Street, but let's see how Waymo keeps its lane. Nicely done. No complaints whatsoever. Let's take a closer look at this part of the drive and see how the Waymo driver handles speed bumps. It seems to know exactly the right speed to take each bump, so that it's comfortable, but we're not slamming on the brakes. I'm not sure if this is mapped data, have Waymo assigned a speed to each bump, or assessed by the car on the fly. Either way, it's nice and smooth, so props to the car for this. And I just wanted to point out another great example of Waymo leaving the intersection clear until there's space on the other side. If only most of LA did the same. Next up, we have some seriously impressive forward planning going on. Before the car in front of us has even gone around this stopped car waiting to turn, our signal is on, and we're preparing to change lanes in order to move around them. We do this very nicely, then immediately move back into our original lane. Nice work, Waymo. And coming up now, we have another blocked lane situation, this time for some maintenance going on in the right lane. As soon as we exit the intersection, the signal is already on nice and early, ready to get back over. But unfortunately, halfway through, the car changes its mind and abandons the lane change. I love to see this level of forward planning, even if we didn't actually end up completing the maneuver, and especially compared to Tesla FSD, which will unfortunately happily speed up to a closed lane and then start thinking about getting over once it has to slow down for it. Let's take a look at another safety event. This time, this pedestrian appears on the right in between cars, but the Waymo driver has already slowed, just in case there was someone there, which in this instance, there certainly was. Had they entered our lane, we would have been in a fantastic position to brake and wait if we needed to. And finally, let's see how two cars running the exact same software interact with each other. We're waiting to make a left, and the other Waymo is looking to continue straight. Let's see if our car cuts in front of the other one. And nope, both were definitely respectful to one another, as they should be. And we took advantage of a nice gap in front of the car behind the other Waymo, who was looking to turn left as well. Nice work. Let's skip ahead to our final drop-off, so I can go and have my late breakfast. Perfect. This is a great spot, and we're out of the way of everyone else.
You're here. Please make sure it's clear before exiting.
Alright, it's that time of the video. How did the Waymo driver do on this trip? For this one, it's an A+. I have absolutely zero complaints about today's driving, as you probably worked out in the video. Pickups and drop-offs were excellent, and the driving was safe and comfortable. Very well done, Waymo. Thank you so much for all your continued support. I hope you'll consider leaving a like or comment about what you thought of the driving or the video in general, and even subscribing if you want to see more future autonomous car content. That's it for me for now. See you all in the next one.